above halfway, but it's 2 dots. Oh, we forgot to learn Musar. Okay, Musar. We'll get Musar in today's daf. What?
Where are you up to?
2 dots on Kuf Dalet Amud beis. Cham say right in the Toises it says Hadron Aloch Hanoise.
Got it.
We have tonight's the big draw for tonight is there's a
Shoichat. I read.
That's bribery.
That means if anybody gets a donation, they cannot sit on the dayan. I know. I heard that.
That's why you're not a dayan. That's why you're not a dayan. We know.
That's it. That's why they can't sit in to be. They can't be between anybody. They can't. Some of these yeshivas they can't sit on any side.
Correct. Boys, I thought we started tonight's stuff early so we could get ready for the Yankee game, but it doesn't.
It wasn't for the Yankee game, Rami, but the thought did cross my mind for your sake.
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Yeah, I said I didn't. It wasn't the reason, but the thought did cross my mind for your sake. Anyways, no.
I didn't think that was your reason. Don't worry about it.
Taisvis, there's on Amud Aleph. There's a wild Taisvis. Anyway, so let's see. So Cham say there's a story first that takes us to the rest of the parak. Cham say the Rabbi Aricha, the mother-in-law of Rabbi Aricha, Intzis Achu Havai, was the wife. Sorry, was his mother.
We don't hear you. You can see your lips moving, but nothing's coming out.
It's like high school.
My wife never complained when I was unable to be heard.
How about now?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, all right. Change internet connections. I apologize. Anyways, so Rabbi Aricha's brother married his mother-in-law. Married, not his own mother-in-law, meaning he married Rabbi Aricha's mother-in-law. All right, but she was an almana, and she lived by her father's house. So we said that when she lives in her father's house, so Rabbi her, right? So Valmona beis avia vizana esem v'chamesh bebei nasha, and he gave her money for 25 years, like we learned yesterday. There's a 25-year limit in the house of her. He stopped giving her money. So Havli, give me my food. Hey, leslach mezayni, you don't get money anymore because it's 25 years already that I've been supporting you. So she says, okay, Havli ksuba, give me my ksuba money. Amallah loy mezayni islach v'loy ksuba. So you don't get food and you don't get ksuba, like we learned in the previous Mishnah. I already fed you for 25 years, And since you didn't say anything about your ksuba for 25 years, that means you were meichel it. So fine. So that was the fight between them. Tavate Ladina. She asked him to come to Bezdin. Kamei de Rabbi Bar Shila, in front of Rabbi Bar Shila. Amar Alei. So he said to Rabbi Aricha, Emily, easy kufa dov de hechihavi. Tell me your how it went on your end. Right? Easy. I don't know exactly how you touch easy. Right? I mean, I know how to touch easy in English. I don't know how to touch easy in Aramaic / Hebrew. Okay, it seems like tell me right now. Easy gufa de uvda hechihavi. Tell me the story. Amar Lei. So Reb Chia Aricha said, I gave her food for 25 years when she was living by her father. The Bechai Demar is like a lashon of a swearing. He's saying that I swear by your life, right? That on my shoulders, kaspoy means on my shoulders, I brought her food on my shoulders, right? And therefore I gave her what she was supposed to get for 25 years. Amar Lei. So Rabbi Bar Shila told back to Reb Chia Aricha, Taimamai Amar Rabbanon. Why did the Rabbanon say calls man she beis that as long as she's living in her husband's house, she gets her ksuba? Tamrinan mashum kisufa u'deloitava. The reason why she doesn't want ksuba is because she's embarrassed, right? Meaning she's living. The inheritors, right? Her stepkids are supporting her, and then she's going to have the gall to go ask for her ksuba on top of the support, so she's embarrassed. So Hanami here too, mishum kisufa hu deloitava. The reason her the ksuba is because she was embarrassed. So zil havla, you have to give her the ksuba. Meaning he was feeding her for 25 years. So because he was feeding her, she didn't want to ask for the ksuba. She says, "How big a fresser? How can I be like that? The guy's feeding me for 25 years. I should go ask him for the ksuba." But then when he said, "Okay, I'm stopping to feed you," so then she said, "Okay, so I want my ksuba." Right. So therefore, who was it? Rabbi Bar Shila paskind against Reb Chia Aricha and said he has to give her the ksuba. So loy ashkach. He didn't listen to him. Reb Chia Aricha did not listen to the psak. And kosav law. So then, what do you do when somebody doesn't listen to a psak of bezdin? So you write a shtar against the person who didn't listen. So kosav law ad kartad anichse. He wrote a shtar against the properties of Reb Chia Aricha, because Reb Chia Aricha had to give the ksuba, and he wrote and so Mamela, he wrote a shtar that he has to pay up, and if not, then they're going to take away his property or his belongings or whatever it is. It's also kamei de Rava. Reb Chia came in front of Rava to say, like, hey, put me in chayrim, right? Meaning this is the way it went, right? Bezdin, it's one person, he doesn't listen, he goes to his own Rav to try and see if his Rav, or a different Rav, to see if his Rav will disagree. So he came in front of Rava, Amar Lei. So he said, "Chazi mar hechi denan." Look how he judged me. So Amra Lef, meaning so now Rabba, everybody was against Reb Chia Aricha, that even though he fed her for 25 years, he still has. If so, and Reb Chia Aricha really is supposed to give me money for the ksuba, since he was supposed to pay me, so then he should pay me from when we started the procedure, not the procedure. Is that what it's called? Procedure? Not the procedure. There's another word. Something like that. Whatever. When they started fighting, he should go retroactive. She should be fed retroactively from when they started fighting, right? Meaning he fed her for 25 years.
Probate, Yaakov. Probate's the word.
Probate, maybe. Is it a probate? Probate is a will. I don't know.
Our scroll says produce.
Produce?
Yeah. Let him return to me the
Hold on, because she wants produce means. No, produce would mean that she's supposed to get the fruits or something from the lands that they're going to take because he owes it to her. Whatever it is, she's saying, I want it to be retroactive to when he stopped feeding me, right? For 25 years he fed her, then he stops, then she says, I want my ksuva. He says no, and then he goes to court, drags it out in court or whatever it is. So she says, okay, I want to be fed from all the money that I should have had before. So Amar Allah, so Rabbi said to her, show me the star. Show me the star that he wrote for you. Chazia, and he saw the Loyav Kosaba, and in the star it did not write. Now this is the talk about legal loopholes here. This is what's going to happen here. He looked in the star and it did not write Ishtamoidna, and we know the nechasim elu the misnainun, that the nechasim, these belongings, is from the dead, the one who died, meaning from the husband, right? Meaning it did not write in the star that we know that there are properties that belong to her husband who died. So it didn't write. So since it didn't say it in there, Amar Allah, so he said to her, At karta lav shapr ksivas. It was not written properly, and it doesn't say in this star that that you're allowed to collect from all the fields that are available, meaning specifically from Rabbi's fields, right? So, meaning what happened was that it should have written that it should come from all fields, meaning her husband's fields and Rabbi's fields, because he's responsible. And it didn't say that. All it did was said about the dead husband. So Amar Allah, she said, it wasn't written properly. Since it wasn't written properly, then you can't get anything, right? So Amrale, so she said, I'm sorry, I think I said it backwards. It was supposed to say that she gets fed from her husband's fields. It didn't say that. It said that she gets from her husband's fields and Reb Chia's fields, which is not true. It's not, Reb Chia is not Reb Chia it was his brother. His brother was the guy that died. It wasn't his. So it should come from his brother's fields, right? And since it didn't write that, and it just wrote they could take even from Reb Chia's fields, so then that's not right. That document is wrong. So he said to her, you can't collect. So Amrale, she said to him, okay, tezel at karta, leave the at karta, take the star and throw it out. Ishkul miyayim d'shlimi yayim achrazasa ad hashta. So let me at least take food from when it was called out, meaning, so let's say I don't have a star, but Bezdin also announces that the guy's not listening to us. So at least I should get from that. So Amar Allah, he said to her, Hani mili karta. When do we allow you to collect? That's when there's no mistake in the star. But once there's a mistake in the star, less lanba, then the whole star is out. Meaning, basically what they're going to do is they make an announcement that this guy is not doing what he has to do, and they're going to sell his fields to raise cash in order to pay back this woman, etc., etc. But once the star is busted, they don't do anything. So Amrale says, she said, "V'hamar hu damar achrayis ta seiferu." You're the one that said that achrayis. Anytime that if somebody writes a star, so a star normally when somebody buys something, so you put responsibility in it that if the guy has liens on the property, then the other fellow will be able to collect it, right? So, but let's say they forgot to write the achrayis in it. So does that mean that the star means there's no achrayis? Or would they say, no, the cipher forgot to put it in? So she asked him, she was an educated woman, so she asked Rava, what you hold that achrayis is a mistake. So why can't the star be good? So they left it out. So Amar la Rava, here you can't say it's a mistake. Because here Rav Bar Shila made a mistake from the beginning. From the beginning, he made a mistake because his star was incorrect. I mean, it's one thing if the star is a valid star and it's missing something. So we say, okay, the cipher made a mistake, but not if the star is totally puzzle, right? So, meaning, what was going on? Why did Rabbah Bar Shila was educated? I mean, he was a Talmud Chacham, right? So, what did he make a mistake in the star? He thought that they're allowed to collect from both the Rav Chia Aricha's fields and also from his brothers. Mali Mahani, Mali Mahani. So who cares where she gets the money from? Since he yashined his brother, who cares if the fields belong to his brother who died or they belong to him? Let them collect from everything. But it's not true. Zimnin da Azlo Mashabchalu. Sometimes she's going to go, if Bezdin gives her a field, she's going to go work on that field and improve it. Uda Bailam Makasvi, and her husbands will, the ones that are not given to her, she's just going to leave, right? Meaning not take care of it. Allah, and then the Yarshim are going to tell her, Shakal didach v'havli didi. Take the properties that were not worked on, those that belong to your husband, and give me the property, right? And then people are going to come say lashon hara on the bezdin that they didn't make sure that this thing was properly done, right? Meaning people, they're going to think that bezdin doesn't know how to take care of people are going to think that they don't know how to take care of almanas, right? So basically, there's procedural things here that could potentially go on, right? And so therefore, we don't just let the Yarshim give her whatever fields that she wants to get, because then they can pull all sorts of shticks. They can end up taking her fields that she improved and give her the lousy fields that she didn't improve. Now, why she was allowed to do that, I don't know. That part I don't understand. Fine. Okay, whatever it is. So the point is that they paskin that the reason why a woman within 25 years is not going to ask for a ksubas because if she's embarrassed, if the Yarshim were taking care of her. Okay, that's the hard part of the daf. Hadron aloch hanoise. Parrots, you're driving, so I guess no l'chaim. You'll have to do a tashlumin later.
It's okay, parrots. I'll do one for you.
Jesse will cover you. Okay, hadron aloch hanoise. Fine. Last parak of ksubas. So this whole parak is going to be a machlokes and different types of gzeiros that but they didn't made in Yerushalyim. So we start off with Shnei dayanim gzeiros HaYerushalayim. There were two dayanim who made gzeiros in Yerushalayim. Admon, one's name was Admon, and one was Chana ben Avi Shalom. Right? There's an interesting thesis here. Exactly what is Avi Shalom? Right? Is it Av Shalom? This Av Shalom we know is the name from Nach. This is not Av Shalom. This is Avi Shalom. Right? Meaning, and then Avshalom doesn't have a chelik olam haba. How does anybody name after him, etc., etc.? So there's the whole thing in Tosfos there of exactly about names, adding yuds to names, adding names, etc., etc. Either way, so there were two dayanim, right? And Chanan noimer shnei dvarim and Adnan noimer shiva. Chanan said two things. He had two psakim, and the Chacham didn't agree with it. And Adman said 7 things that the Chacham didn't agree with, which is what's going to carry us through this whole parak. What's the first thing? So if somebody goes traveling overseas, right? So you have a husband who's traveling overseas, he's got to make sure he supports his wife. The ishtoi tevas mezainos, and his wife wants food, right? She wants to be fed. So she goes to Bezdin and says, I need food. My husband left me without food. Or we'll see in the Gemara, did he leave her without food? Did he not leave her without food? But basically, he goes overseas and she needs to be supported. So she goes to bed and says, I need my food. Chanan Oimer, on Talmud Aleph now, Tishba b'soif, she has to swear at the end. V'loi Tishba b'tchila, and she doesn't swear in the beginning. Now, the Tishba b'soif and tchila are a little misleading. Tishba b'soif means at the end, means when she wants to get her ksuba, she has to swear that she never got anything from her husband. And Loi Tishba b'tchila means when she's asking for her money for food, that's when she's swearing in the beginning, right? So he's saying she only swears when she asks for the ksuba and not in the beginning when she asks for support. Nechel b'nei kahanim gedolim. The b'nei kahanim gedolim disagreed with this psak. Amru tishba betchila u'b'soif. She has to swear at the beginning and at the end. Meaning, at the beginning, when she wants to be fed, she has to swear that she got no food from her husband, and she also has to swear that she never got ksuba money. And again, the reason why she has to swear is because how do we know that she wasn't given money and she ran out? Right? How do we know that she wasn't given money from her husband and now she decides she wants to double dip? So we have to make her make a shvua that she was not given money from her husband, and then we'll let her have. So that's a machlokes again, whether she has to swear twice or only once. Amar Rabbi Doisa ben Hirkinis k'divrayim. Rabbi Doisa ben Hirkinis said like the Kohanim Gedolim.
I'm just trying to understand what there's two separate transactions there.
Correct.
So then what's the havamina of you only make one shvua?
What do you mean? Why should you only make one shvua?
Yeah, Hanan.
Because on the regular food, I don't think it's important. Meaning the shvua that she made later, I think is gonna cover the earlier food too.
It's two separate.
It's yeah, but he's saying that it's not is you don't have to make the guy make two shvuas like that. I'm not guy, the girl, the woman, right? I mean, you're saying that what does it hurt to make her swear twice?
No. The shvuas in general, we're not trying to make people make shvuas, right? No, I'm asking what's the havamina that she swears at the end and it's good for both.
Yeah, I think he holds that the second shvua is going to cover it all the way around, that she was never given.
I'm
Meaning
asking,
the
it's
second,
two separate transactions. So
it's not.
what?
It's not. We're going to say, were you ever given anything from the husband? She's going to have to say, no, I was not.
But one is talking about support, and one is talking
Correct.
about suba.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. But they're going to make her swear on both.
Okay.
Why? I mean, why can't you make her swear first? I don't know. But the second shvua, as far as I understand, is going to cover the first one too, I think.
So then why does he hold fakert?
Because like you're saying, it's two different things. Why not make her swear?
I'm just trying to understand what's the crux of the machlokes. That's
why the crux of the machlokes is why you're going to make her make a shvua later anyways. Why should she have to do it now?
okay. So then why do you have to make two shvuas? Because we don't believe him, right? So
I don't know if we don't believe. I don't know if that's pshat that we don't believe her. I don't know. Is that the pshat?
I don't know.
Am I misunderstanding something here?
What,
the way
what
Rashi says it, the Beis and betchila are really the other way around. Beis is before the betchila. Beis is when he dies. Betchila is when she starts taking mezainis. So essentially, Hanan's saying that the one Beis covers everything. If she didn't take anything, she didn't take anything. But the Chachamim was saying that they're two different shvuas because one's on ksuva, one's on mezainis.
So then why does Hanan hold, if it's two separate things, then why does Hanan hold that you only make one?
I think it's really going to depend on what she's asking for. Meaning, if she could ask, I think what Gershon is saying, and I think Gershon's right, is she could ask for her ksuba and not get support. Once she asks for support, right? Once she asks for support, she's done. Once she asks for ksuba, she doesn't get support. Right? So if she makes a shvua b'soif yamav, right, that she wants the ksuba, then she makes a shvua and she takes it, finished. Right? Betchila means, like Rashi says, b'shas givui mezainis. If she doesn't want the ksuba and she wants to just collect for the food, then she has to make a shvua for that. Meaning, it's yes, it could play out the way me and you were saying it, but really the pashup shot is the way Gershon is saying it, which is that If she's collecting food, according to Chanan, she doesn't have to make a shvua. If she's collecting the ksuba, then she does have to make a shvua. That's what he holds. Meaning to support her, it's more important. The support is more important that we don't have to be concerned that she's going to lie. I don't know why we're not concerned that she's not going to lie, but for whatever reason, Chanan holds that to support her, just to give her food, she doesn't have to make a shvua. But if she wants to get her full ksuba money, then she has to make a shvua. Yeah, I don't really understand clearly why that is, but maybe support is not as much money as a ksuba. Maybe.
It's the money or chiyuvim?
It has to do with, I don't know. I'm not sure. Right, but Gershon is right. That's the way Gershon is saying. Meaning that's why Saif and Tchila are not. Saif means Saif Yomov. Tchila means when she wants to begin to collect.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Amar Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai Yafa Amar Chanan Lo Tishba Ela L'B'Saif. She only swears by a ksuba. She does not swear when she wants to collect money, collect food. That she doesn't have to swear. Again, Chanan holds that she collects. She only swears when she wants to collect money to live. I'm sorry, I said the opposite. I keep saying the opposite. Chanan says, I apologize. Chanan says that she makes a shvua only when she wants to collect the ksuba. If she wants to get fed, she does not have to make a shvua. And the Kaihanim Gedolim say anytime she wants to take money from her husband's properties or estate or whatever, then she has to swear. Fine. So now, before the Gemara gets involved in that, the Gemara goes through who are all these dayanim. So some interesting things. The Gemara asks a stira. We're in the beginning of the Gemara now. Kufay Amud Aleph. Shloisha dayanim gzelas yerushalyim. There were 3 dayanim of people that are stealing in Yerushalayim. Admon ben Gadai, v'Chanan ha-Mitzri, v'Chanan ben Avishalom. So Kashya Tlas Atren. So you have a Kasha because our Mishnah says there were 2. And this price says there were 3. And Kashi Gzeiros Agzelos. And also, our Mishnah says Gzeiros. And he touched Gzeiros like takonas. That's not a good touch. Takona, whatever. Yeah. And the other one says Gzeilos. So what do we have?
Decree,
I guess. Decree, yes. Yeah. So Bishlam Atlas Atren like Kasha. 3 on 2 is not a Kasha. The Choshev like Katani. The Tan of the Mishnah is counting the ones who he says are chashuv. The loy chashuv loy katani. What's not chashuv to him, he's not saying. Right. So therefore, the who was the third one? Admon ben Gadai was not chashuv to him. So therefore, he doesn't say it. Gzeirus agzeilus kasha, but gzeirus on gzeilus is a kasha. Some Rav Nachman Yitzchak show you guys in gzeirus al gzeilus. No, it's not a kasha because they were making gezeiras on people stealing. Kedetanya, kitmanatiya. If somebody had an animal that chopped up a tree, that ate a tree, Rav Yossi Amri, geyser gezeiras Yerushalayim Amrim. Those that make gezeiras Yerushalayim say natiya bashnasa shtei kesef. If it's a planting, if it's a tree that was planted for 1 year, then he has to pay 2 kesef. Bashtei shanim arba kesef. And if it's 2 years, he has to give 4 kesef. So that was a stira, right? So the way we're answering it is that our Mishnah is only counting the choshev of people, and the bribes is counting everybody. So that's why our Mishnah only says 2, not 3. And when it says gezeilos and gezeiros, it means that they made gezeiros on gezeiros. Telling what I asked, Ramini shloisha dayanim gezeiros Yerushalayim admon v'Chanan ben Nachman. Right. So we have it says 3 dayanim gezeiros admon and Chanan and Nachman. Right. So who's Nachum now? He wasn't in the first price. So Rapapa man Tana Nachum, Rab Nosani, the one that says the word Nachum, the Tana Nach, the dayan Nachum is Rab Nosan. The Tana Rab Nosan Omer Af Nachum Amadei. Mi Geyser Gzeres Yerushalayim was from the Geyser Gzeres Yerushalayim, but like the Chacham disagreed and said he was not one of the dayanim. Right, fine. So then what says Vasul Leka, and there were there no more. So let's stop right there. So you see this long taisus, the chashuv lekatani. This is since the next Yom Tiv is Pesach, that's how we're going to fit this in. The next Yom Tiv is Pesach, Bezos Hashem, but the next Yom Tiv min Torah is Pesach, right? So taisus is talking about how who's chashuv, what's considered more chashuv. So basically, taisus says that chashuv means if they have yichus. So if they come Based on yichus, so they have chashivas. And what's Taisus Raya? From the Haggadah Shel Pesach. Right? Now the Haggadah Shel Pesach, he says, if you look like 10 lines down into the Taisus, there's a little vav there. Right? It says, Ashkan Maisa Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Elazar ben Azai, Rabbi Kiva. I can taste the matzah as I read it. Afapi Rabbi Kiva Haya Chashuv, mi Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, even though Rabbi Kiva was the more Chashuv one. Shuhaya Rosh L'Chachamim, he was the Rosh Chachamim of Chol Duchti in all places. Amrinon, Kigban Rabbi Kiva Chaverov, Ubashili Parakamati Yavamas, Gabi Maisa, the Ben Daisa, Ben Hirkanas, Damalem, Rabbi Yeshua, Ani Elech, V'acharav mi, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, V'acharav mi, Rabbi Kiva. Ukshenichnasu Etzloi, Amar Rabbi Yeshua, Yesh Ben La'Azariah, Chavereno, Harei Lo Hoya, Desh Rabbi Elazar ba'Olam. Rabbi Kiva Amar Atahu Sheshimcha Hailach Musayfa Halam At Saifa. Right, so meaning, so you see that Rabbi Kiva was the most chashuv. So why in the Haggadah was Rabbi Kiva not mentioned first? Vafilu Achi Masker Rabbi Elazar Bereisha V'Hainu Taima Shoyim Mishpacha Meyucheses Yosem Rabbi Kiva Shoyatziri LeEzra. He was 10th generation to Ezra. The Gambashvil Nisios, he was also Nisios. So here too, it says Hanana Mitzri first not because he was more chashuv, but because he was from a mishpacha meyucheses, Yosef from Hanan ben Avishalom. Okay, and then whatever it is, if you look at Masechta Shas, that vav says Haggadah, the Haggadah Shel Pesach. Right? There's no makar for that story. That story, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Kiva, the Olam has to remember this for Pesach. Right? That story has no source in Shas. As far as I know, I mean, this Taisus, I think there's a couple other Taisus that quote the Haggadah Shel Pesach. This Taisus, if you look at the Masorah Shas Vav, is quoting Haggadah Shel Pesach, right? It's not even clear who wrote the Haggadah Shel Pesach, right? Okay, that's interesting. That's one of the interesting things from tonight's stuff. Fine. Okay, so then we're 4 lines up from the wide lines. Something else says V'su Leka, and were there no more dayanim? Now, whoever complains that there's too many shuls nowadays, you just got to show them this Gemara. Okay? It doesn't say whether the shuls were in tents or whatever, but okay, or garages or basements, but this was, listen to this.
Basements are coming back in now, no?
Yeah, basements and yards and yeah. Anyways, there were 300. Any rabbi that complains about a new shul opening, which I used to complain, but this is already like the second or third Gemara that's coming through Shas that seems to show that they had a lot of shuls back then. A lot more, it seems, than we have. 394 bezdins were in yerushalyim. I mean, that's a whole lot of people fighting, right? I mean, 394. Yeah, and Rashi says each one had 23 dayanim.
I wanted done them that there were a lot of people listening.
Could be. I'm not saying that.
Can you imagine the amount of hasmanas flying around in that town?
I'm saying it's wild. It's wild. Kenegdon, and opposite them, Bate Knesias, there were 394 shuls. Do you think Yerushalayim has 394 shuls now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, function.
The
Shtibla counts as one. Shtibla counts as one.
Why?
It's hard to do that math. 25, 23 dayanim. If they only have 23 times 394 is a big number.
It's a big number, very low.
What's that? Could you sit on multiple bezdins?
It doesn't sound like that. Probably yes, but it doesn't sound like that. Either way, there were 394 shuls.
What does it mean connect on the shul? What does that mean? Each
I don't know, but
had
a beis knesses. A beis knesses.
Or it's a separate thing. You had one bezdin and a shul. Or
yes.
394 the bezdin shuls that you didn't have a shul without a bezdin.
It's not saying which one is which.
Today.
It's not saying. I don't know.
394 total that they serviced as a bezdin, like basic knesses and beis medrash.
No, it doesn't seem like that. So it says connect them bate knesses, or connect them bate midrashas. So 394 yeshivas, or connect them bate seifrim, And they also had yeshivas, but they started from yeshivas, Rashi says, right, to teach kids, right? So they had a whole lot of them, yeah. So whatever it is, you see there weren't 3 dayanim, like the bribes says 3 dayanim, our Mishnah says 2 dayanim. There were thousands of dayanim. So Gemara answers, dayanim tuva, however, there were many dayanim. The chi kamrin and agayzik gzeres coming in. We were just talking about the ones that can make gzeres. Right? Yes, there were dayanim, but then the major dayanim was either 2 or 3, depending on really 3. Our Mishnah just says 2. Okay, fine. The Geyser Gzeres would take for their salary 99 mana from the Trumas Halishka, right? If the Trumas Halishka is from the Gemara Shkolim, right, is when they would give the Machzas HaShekel. So then there were 3 different boxes that you put in the Machzas HaShekel. So then they were given out. They were given out to these dayanim, right? Now I don't know exactly how you calculate how it was given out. Right, meaning it was given to the Geyser Gzeres. I mean, some they didn't keep it for themselves. They had to give it out. They had to give it out to all the dayanim. Okay, whatever it is. So loy ratzu, if they don't want, myself and them, you give them even more money. Meaning, if they don't want this money, you give them more money. So Gemara asks, loy ratzu, they don't want, and you give them more. Atu b'rashi asking, we're talking about Rishayim. We're trying to milk money out of the Beis Hamikdash. Hello, no. What it means is loy sapku. If there wasn't enough money for them, if that wasn't enough of a salary, even if they didn't want to take more money from the Beis Hamikdash, we add on to it.
Sounds like there was riches to ask for a raise.
That's it, yeah. That's what. No, it's not a riches. Sounds like no. They were tzaddikim. They didn't want to ask for a raise. If they didn't have enough money, they didn't want to ask for a raise. And we forced
maybe
it on.
Maybe the shot of Russia is they shouldn't be taking money as a diet.
Yeah, no. If they would to milk it, no. Are you saying on the first part? Yes, to milk money from the Beis Hamikdash, that would not be right. That's for sure. Yes, 100%. That would.
No, a guy wants a raise. He needs money to live, so 99 didn't cover it.
Okay, maybe. So that's what we're saying, but they refused it. Fine. Now the Gemara discusses taking money for doing the Avodas Hashem. Let's see. So Karna was the name of a Tana. Have a shokel astira mizaka astira michayev. He would take an astira, that's an amount of money, from the zakai, from the person who was going to win, and astira michayev from the one who was going to lose. V'dan landina, and he judged them. Meaning, well, let's see what this means. So he took a fee from each side. So when I asked, hey, how do you do this? You're not allowed to take a bribe. So he was taking payments. Maybe the Torah only means when he didn't take it from both of them. Because he'll lean the din towards one, right? If he takes payments from one and not from the other, so maybe he's gonna obviously favor the person who gave him money. So Karna, even the Shakum Mitavayu, but since he took money from both, so it's not going to change. It's not going to convince him to go one way or the other. He took equal amounts of money. So Gemara says, and even if it's not going to make him bend the rules, is it mutter? He can't take shaychad, you can't take bribery. What's it coming to teach us? If it's coming to tell you that don't make the person who's chayiv into a winner, and don't make the person who's chayiv don't make the person who's not chayiv into a zakai. That already says loisata mishpat. Don't change the judgment. This is talking about where you might have a poor person and a rich person, right? So the pasuk tells you, don't decide, I'm going to side with the poor guy because he could use the money. That you're not allowed to do, and not the other way either. Elafilu, the zakat is a zakat, l'chayiv is a chayiv. Even if you're gonna be mezaka the right one, and you're gonna be mechayiv the right one, amra Torah b'shafet l'sikul, you still can't do it. Meaning, Even if you think that the bribery is not going to change the din, you're still not allowed to take money. So how did Karna take money? When it answers that's only where he took it as a bribe. Karna b'taras igra. He took it as havashakal. He took it as payment. He wasn't taking it because, oh, give me some money under the table. He was doing it because he says, I need to be paid to do this. So when I asked him, is he allowed to take it for payment? But none. Somebody who gets paid to judge, his judgment is batal. So how could he even take money? So when I answer, agar dina. This is, when do we say that his din is batal? Is if he gets paid like a lawyer, let's say, or a judge. Karna agar betela habashakal, and this is the big one. He can get paid for his what we call schar batala, right? And this goes for rabbeim too officially. Really, rabbeim and rabbis and rosh hashivas and whatever are not allowed to take money for teaching Torah, for doing anything that Hashem wants, right? So what they're allowed to do is they're allowed to take schar batala, which is, well, if I wouldn't be working, I mean, I have a job, right? So I'm not taking my job in order to help you judge this din, to try and give a judgment here. So then I need to at least make the money that I would get from my regular employment. So that's what he did. He didn't take any extra money like that. Not like nowadays that the lawyers take tons of money, et cetera, et cetera. No, he just was taking money that to support him instead of him doing work, whatever his regular job was. So Gemara says, okay, is that mutter either? Is it agar matela bishari? Is taking money for bittul mutter vatanya mechura dayan shenoito schar ladan? It's disgusting if a dayan takes money. Ella shadina din, but if he takes money, his din is still a din. So now Hechi, tell me what's the case. Ilema agar dina. If we said when is a din is when he's taking money for a dina din, is his din a din vatanya? We learned. We said if a guy gets paid, the judge gets paid, or the dayan gets paid, he's out. It's bottom. So it can't be that. Ella agar betela. It must be talking about schar bittul. And we said that it's disgusting, even though we said his din is a din, but it's disgusting. Again, right now what the Gemara is holding is that there's two different ways of a dayan getting paid. One, he's overcharging. That's for sure no good. He's not allowed to do it. And his din is no good. And then there's the dayan who gets paid, but he gets schar batala. So if we say that's considered disgusting, so Gemara answers, Hani mili betela delay mucha. That's talking about where it's bittul, where that was not obvious. Meaning, if we wouldn't know for sure whether he had work. Meaning, the guy could say, "I need to be paid to lead a dayan." Did you have a job today? You didn't have any jobs today, so why should you get paid? Karna betela de mucha havashakal, but everybody knew it was a bittul that was obvious. Why? The havatahi ba'ambra de chamra. He was the wine taster, or really the wine smeller. He was the guy that can taste the smell the wine, tell you whether the wine's going to last. Everybody knew he was the bucky in wine. And people would pay him a zuz for smelling the wine and telling them whether it's good wine or not. So since everybody in town knew that he had a parnasa, so if he was going to stop smelling wine in order to be dan the din, so then that's not considered disgusting because he needed to get paid. Right? When a din came in front of Rav Huna, give me a man who will draw water for me, who instead of me, and then I'll give you a din. Right? Meaning, somebody came up to Rav Huna. Back then, you had the ability, and that Taisa says this. They had the ability. I think Taisa says it. They had the ability to learn and to be Talmid Chachamim. Nowadays, we don't have that ability. Right? That's why, I don't know, is it Taisa that says it? Oh, I'm sorry. No. I think it's the Kesef Mishnah on the Rambam. The Rambam, as everybody knows, says it's also to take money to teach, etc., etc. So everybody asks on the Rambam. So basically, the teretz is that back then people had the ability to work and be big Talmid Chachamim. Nowadays, it's not possible. So therefore, you have to, if we're going to want Talmid Chachamim, you have to they have to take money in order to be able to. Otherwise, we're not going to have to meet the chacham. So really, they're not supposed to take money. But it's like an eis lasas lashem. We don't have a choice, right? So what Rav Huna would say, hey, I'm working the fields. I'm a water carrier. I think that's what he was, right? Then he said, oh, Mr. Water Carrier, you need you to paskin a din for us. He says, okay, get somebody to do the water carrying for me and give me money, and then I'll be able to help you out. Otherwise, I can't do it. I need to feed my family, right? So that's essentially what Karna was doing, and that's what Rav Huna did too. Now we have a few Agadata Gemaras about how bad shaychad is. How blind people that accept bribery are. Adam chash be'einov. If a person has pain in his eyes, nice and mammon l'roife, so he gives money to the doctor. Safik misrabe, safik enosrabe. He pays him, but he has no idea whether the doctor is going to get the right diagnosis and the right cure. Be'ein noitlan shava pruta. And these people that take shaychad, they take a shava pruta, and they make themselves blind. Shaychad makes people blind. Right? And now the pasuk is really meant to be as a mashal, right? That the judge, if he takes a bribe, he's not going to be able to see straight. Right? From this Gemara, it's mashma, no, he's going to physically become blind. Right, l'chayra. Fine. So that's one. Toner Rabbanan. Again, the Gemara is saying that you go to a doctor and you pay him, and you don't know if you're going to get healed. But here, a person for just to take a shava pruta will for sure become blind. Toner Rabbanan. Ki hashaychad yaver eni chachamim. Shaychad blinds chachamim. Kavachamer letipshin, and it's a kavachamer that it blinds stupid people. Be a salaf divrei tzadikim. And it messes up the words of tzaddikim. So what does it mean? Kavachamer l'rishayim, and it's a kavachamer that it's going to mess up rishayim. So Gemara says, "Midi tipshim rishayim beit dinaninu b'nei dinaninu." Sounds like you have tipshim and rishayim judging. Are they really people that are supposed to judge? Elahachi kamer ki hashaychad yaver einei chacham. Shaychad blinds the eyes of chacham. Afilu chacham gadol v'lekeach shaychad. Even if he's a chacham gadol, if he takes shaychad, if he takes bribery, ein niftem in ha'olam b'lo smiyas halev. He's not going to leave this world without being becoming blind in his heart. Meaning, it sounds like he's going to go off. I think that's what that means. He's just not going to be religious anymore. The Yasalef divrei tzadikim, and what it says is going to mess the words of tzadikim on Amud beis now. Afilu tzadik gomer, even a tzadik gomer, v'leikeach shaychad, even a tzadik gomer who takes shaychad. He's going to lose his mind. Right? He's going to end up losing his mind. Fine. So that's how bad accepting bribery is. Ki also Rav Dimi Omar Dorish of Nachman Bar Kohen. My Dirsiv Melech Mishpat Yamid Eretz. I'm sorry, Melech Mishpat Yamid Eretz. Bish Trumas Yersena. A king holds the world up, and a person who gives gifts, right? Trumas, Yarsena will mess it up, right? If the dayan is like a king who doesn't need anything, he doesn't need to be bribed or anything, Yamid Eretz, then he's going to hold up the world. But if he's like a kohen who goes searching for the granas by the silos, trying to collect truma from people, then Yarsena, that's going to mess everything up. Right? So basically, you always want to have a dayan who's rich, so nobody can buy him off. Because the poor people, we have to be afraid. Fine. If you have a dayan who borrows things from people, he's not allowed to dan a din, right? Because he's constantly borrowing from people, so therefore he's going to be tainted. That's only if he didn't have what to lend. But if he has what to lend, less lumber, or I don't know if it means he has what, or that he actually has to lend, then less lumber, then there's no problem. Because the same way that he borrows, he also lends. When it says, it's not true, he borrowed things from the Meiba Marion. And even though that they didn't get from him, And I guess from this Gemara was saying that they were able to be dayanim. So our answer is Hasan Lachshavinu Hu Debai. This is a big yesod right here in Musar. Right there, the reason why he borrowed from them is because he wanted to give them nachas that he was borrowing something from them. Meaning, if a big rabbi comes to your door and borrows something from you, that's a big chashivas. So meaning he really didn't need to borrow anything. Right? He did it in order to make them feel good. That's where you get, I think there's a phrase, no? Sometimes you could give more by taking, right, than by giving. Right? Some sort of phrase like that. Right? Sometimes when you let somebody give you something, and that's considered a chashivas, so then you're actually giving to them more. So that's what happened here too. Fine. So I'm a Rava. Yeah. So now we get the yesod of why you're not allowed to. My timer, shaita. Why is shaita so bad? Even the kabel le shaita minay. Because when you makabel bribery, you end up with the same das, and you become like the person himself, and nobody sees anything bad with themselves. You hear what it's saying? When you accept bribery, it's as if you become that guy, and it's just like a person can't judge himself, so therefore you can't judge him. My shaykh, because he becomes yourself. My shaykh, shehu chad, that he's one. Fine. A person should not judge somebody who he likes. And he shouldn't judge somebody who he hates either. Right? Because the one who he likes, he's not going to see that there's any chiyuv. And the one he hates, he's not going to see any sort of schus. Right? So a person has to know when to, how do you call it? Recuse? Right? Recuse, right? A dayan has to know when to recuse himself from a din. So I see that. I don't understand how anybody can go to their own rav and ask for a psak in Choshe Mishpat. I know what happens. You go to your rav and ask your rav. Say, well, yeah, my rav sided with me. Of course. I'm saying, why? How can the rav paskin it? Doesn't he have to step back?
Asking, he's telling you what the Allah would be.
But you know, in a Choshe Mishpat, you're warped.
Based on the question you're asking, this is the halacha. Now you have to go to Bezdin to work it out, right?
No, we're talking about but we're talking about dayanim, where rabbis give them and say, no, you don't have to. You do have to. I don't know how that works.
Based on what you told me,
You say that, but I'm saying you have to hear both sides, and also there's negias. Even if you hear both sides, there's negias on the one that pays membership in your shul. No,
right?
So I don't know. That we're talking about that. That's the next line of the Gemara. So you have this young Talmud Chacham, who people have Rachmanis here means that they like him. You know, you get this new rabbi. He says, "Yeah, everybody loves me. Everybody loves me in the town." Right? The Rachman leibnei mas. This town likes him. La mishum d'may litvei, not because they think he's so great. Ela mishum d'lei mochach lu b'mili d'shmaya. He doesn't give them musar. He doesn't give them musar. Mili shmaya. So of course they like him as the rabbi. The minute the rabbi opens his mouth and starts giving musar, then they start not liking him. Right? Omar Rava Mereish. So Rabbi said in the beginning, Hava Mina, I thought, Hani b'nei Mechuza, the people of Mechuza, Kulu Rachmili, they all liked me. Right? Kiva and the Havai Daina, but once I became the Dayan, which I don't know how he became the Dayan, if he already had a relationship with them, maybe he didn't like them. I don't know. Amina Minayu Sanuli Minai Rachmili. Some people hate me, some people like me. Kiva the Chazai demand Mechayev Le'Ha'idna Kazachi L'Macha. But now that when I saw that some days this one will be chayiv and some days they'd be potter, meaning it was a merry-go-round. Not everybody was always right and not everybody was always wrong. Amina. So I said, Imerachem kulu rachmili. If they like me, they're all gonna like me. Imasano kulu sanali. If they hate me, they're all gonna hate me. Right? Meaning this is you gotta basically what he's saying is that you gotta do what you gotta do, and if they're gonna hate you, they're gonna hate you, and they're gonna like you, they're gonna like you. Nobody's gonna ever be happy, perfectly happy with the rabbi, right? Fine. So Tana Rabbanon. Okay, let's do the two dots. Yes, it's Tana Rabbanon. It's easy. Gemara. A shaychad you can't take. I'm sorry, you can't take shaychad. Any tzarach lemes shaychad mammon. You don't have to say that it's dafka with taking money as bribery. Even taking words is also. Right? So the shaila, does that mean words like the guy praises you, or does it mean things other than money? From the next Gemaras, it seems like even things that are not money. It doesn't say betza, which is money, that you shouldn't take. It just says you shouldn't. It just says shaychad loisika. What's the case? It's heichi dami shaychad dvarim. What's shaychad dvarim? Ki had Shmuel have a over b'mavarim. Shmuel was going over a bridge. Asahu gavra yoav le'yadin. The guy stuck out his hand to help him go over the bridge. Amrlei mayavidich. What are you doing here? Right? Amrlei dina isli. I have a din with you. I'm coming. You're going to be the dayan. Amrlei psilna lachladin. I'm out. I'm puzzled now because you just helped me. Right? Since you helped me, so then I'm going to have in my head, that just shows you how far you have to be worried about that something's going to mess up your judgment. Ameimar have a Yosef the Kadda and Dina. Ameimar was sitting there and he was judging. Parach Gadfa Areshe, and a feather flew on his head. Asahu Gavra Shakli, and somebody came and took it off. Amalei Mayavitech. What are you doing? Amalei Dina Isli. I have a din here. Amalei Psil Nalach Dina. That's it. I am now puzzled from daning for you because you did me this little favor. Marukva Havashadi Roika Kame. Marukva, somebody spit in front of him. Asahu Gavra Kasi, and the man came and covered it. Amalei Mayavitech. What do you do? What do you do? Amalei Dina Isli. I have a din with you. Amalei Psil Nalach Dina. I'm out because you did me a favor. Right? Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi have a rogal arise. Now, so that's those cases. Then this next case is even a bigger chiddush. He had an oris, he had an oris, a sharecropper who worked on his lands. Every Friday, as his payment, he would bring them a basket of fruit. So one day he brought it to him on Thursday. Why'd you bring it on Thursday? I had a din with you on Thursday. I'm going to bring it on Thursday. Why should I make 2 trips to you? I'm going to be with you in din on Thursday. I might as well bring it to you. And he said, I'm not taking it from you. Now I'm puzzled because you were giving me fruits. So he got another pair of rabbanon to be the judges, and they were dying him. When Rabbi Shmuel was walking around the courthouse, Omar, and he heard the case, he wasn't trying it because he recused himself. He said, if he wants, he could taina this. If he wants, he could taina this. He was talking to himself, saying, oh, he could say this, he could say this. Omar, he says, tipach nafsham shemakable shaychad. The souls of anybody who accepted bribery should be blown up. Me, who I didn't even take the bribe. And if I did take the bribe, I was going to be my own. Meaning, I was getting the basket of fruit on Friday. He brought it to me on Thursday. Because of that, I recused myself. He says so, and I didn't even take it. Yet in my head, I'm going through all sorts of cheshbainis. So if somebody actually accepts a bribe, so of course he's going to be totally messed up, right? A similar case, Rabbi Shmuel bar Elisha. I think my thing is going to die. Hold on a second. Let me just.
You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, just one more case. Rabbi Shmuel bar Elisha, hu gavra reishas agez. He brought him reishas agez. That's the first, when they take off the wool from the sheep. So he brought it to him. Amar lei mehecha. He said, "Where are you from?" Amar lei meduch plan. I'm from this place. There was no kohen for you to give it. You had to schlep it all the way to me. Amar lei dina isli. I have a din with you. I'll save a trip to give it to another kohen. I'll give it to you. You made me puzzle for the din. Like Kibbul Mineh, he was not makabel for him. So he got another pair of rabbanon to dan him for kadainale, and they were the dayanim. But how did the cause of us when he was walking around the courthouse or whatever, the bezdin? Amar ibaitan hachi, vibaitan hachi. He was thinking in his head, oh, this guy could say this way, he could say this way, and then he caught himself. Amar tifach nafshim shel makablish shaychad. The nefesh of those that accept bribery should blow up. If me and I didn't even take the bribe, him natalti, shali natalti, and if it was mine because I'm a kohen and I'm allowed to take the wool, it really belongs to me. So kach, still I'm so warped thinking only for that guy's side. Right. So therefore, that's how bad, that's how far a dayan has to go not to have shaykhad. I have to tell you, my Shaya with Reb Chaim Cohen, right? He's the big dayan in Brooklyn. So he was sitting in somebody's house and they were going through a din, and he said, "I'm very thirsty. Can you bring me a cup of water?" And the host, whoever went and brought him a cup of water, and then he chapped. He said, "No, I can't take the water. If I take the water, I'm out. I'm out as the dayan." So he didn't take the drink, which is from this Gemara. It seems like that's pashut, that's exactly the way it is. That's what you got. Yeah. But anyways, okay. I hope I appreciate
Find that
everybody
hard to
tuning in.
swallow.
Yeah. Very good. Anyways, everybody should have themselves a fine night. Naftali Landau, it's good to see you back. Fine.
He was louder than you.
Yeah, I think so. But I have to say what I have to say. Say what I have to say. Yeah.
That one goes down in the bloopers first. That one gets added.
Yeah. All right.
Tiago, will you back on in the morning tomorrow?
Today was only because my brother made a bris.
Oh, Mazda. We were all trying to figure out why.
I didn't say it. I meant to say it.
Yeah,
he made a bris at the wrong time.
Mazda.
Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow should be fine.
Okay.
All right.
What's with the CM Iron?
We ready? You missed that.
Oh, I guess you
I missed it. What happened?
Nothing.
We had to see him.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. That's the bottom line.
Gershon, the problem is we're all so starving. We haven't eaten in 3 weeks. We're starving hungry.
Exactly.
I think we're talking about Wednesday or Thursday next week, Jacob. No?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying you can go with Pesach with Taisvus on Amud Aleph. Wait till Pesach.
I usually Thursdays is easier for the island because it's the end of the week, but I don't know. I mean, the other name.
We can do Thursday. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. We'll see. Maybe, to poll everybody again never works. So.
Right. But you don't have any simchas or anything. That's why I just want to make sure about your schedule.
I have a simcha on. If I do, I'll go after the siyum. Kedarke b'kodesh.
Right. That's true. What was I thinking?
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
Fine.
I think I'm gonna have to sit this one out.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I don't think I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get you for. We'll get you
We'll
from the
see.
dog.
We'll see.
All right.